Let's be brutally honest, guys. Texting can make or break your chances with a woman. You could have the looks, the charisma, and the confidence in person, but one wrong text, she's gone, and you might not even know why. Think I'm exaggerating? Think again. Women notice everything in your texts, from the timing to the tone, to whether or not you've sent one too many. Here's the thing no one tells you. Texting isn't just communication, it's a digital resume. Every text is an application for more of her time and attention, and the smallest slip-ups can be deal breakers. But most guys don't even realize they're making these mistakes. Maybe you've been there. Sent a joke she didn't laugh at, followed up twice with no response, or asked her an innocent question that somehow got you ghosted. It's frustrating, right? But here's the hard truth. Women aren't going to tell you what you did wrong. They just lose interest, fast. That's why most guys keep making the same mistakes, stuck in a loop of one-word replies, missed signals, and radio silence. Now, before you panic delete every message in your phone, take a deep breath. You're not here to be shamed. You're here to be better. Because the truth is, every guy makes texting mistakes. The real difference lies in how quickly you can recognize and fix them. And guess what? That's exactly what we're tackling today. In this video, I'm exposing the 5 biggest texting mistakes that send women running for the hills. And no, this isn't about gimmicks, manipulative tricks, or playing hard to get. It's about simple, powerful adjustments that'll change the way women respond to you and how you feel about texting overall. If you've ever found yourself wondering, why did she stop replying, or what am I doing wrong? Stick around. You're about to learn what works, what doesn't, and why the difference between ghosted and gaining her interest might just be a single text. 1. The over-texting trap. Why double texting is killing your chances. Let's face it, guys, desperation is unattractive. Nothing screams "I'm trying too hard" louder than over-texting. At first, it might seem innocent. You send a message, she doesn't reply, so you send another just to check in. Before you know it, you're 3 texts deep with no response, looking like a lost puppy begging for attention. Sound familiar? Here's the brutal truth. Women hate over-texting. It doesn't matter how interested she is or how well your last date went. The moment you start flooding her inbox without getting a response, you send one message loud and clear: "I'm insecure and don't respect your space." No one's attracted to that. Why does this happen? It usually boils down to fear. You're scared that her silence means she's losing interest. So in a rush to fix things, you try to stay on her radar by sending more texts. Ironically, the more you text, the less she respects you. Why? Because confidence is quiet and insecurity is loud. A man who's secure in himself doesn't need constant reassurance or validation through a response. Think of texting as planting seeds. A confident text is like a seed you drop into the soil. It needs time to grow. When you double or triple text, you're digging up that seed, overwatering it, and expecting it to flourish instantly. Guess what? That's not how it works. Here's what you need to do instead. Text with purpose, then pull back. Send one thoughtful, engaging message, something that shows confidence and genuine interest. If she doesn't respond immediately, leave it alone. Yes, it's hard, but trust me, silence is powerful. When you don't chase, she'll wonder why, and that curiosity keeps her interested. Now, if you think her lack of response means she's playing games, you've got the wrong mindset. Women are busy. They have jobs, friends, and lives outside their phones. The last thing they want is a guy who doesn't give them breathing room. By giving her space, you show her that you respect her time and have a fulfilling life of your own. So the next time you're tempted to double text, stop and ask yourself, do I want to look confident or clingy? The choice is yours. Remember, less is more. 1 well-timed message is worth 10 desperate ones. 2. Bad timing, sending messages when she's least likely to respond. Here's the deal. Timing is everything when it comes to texting. You could have the most charming, witty, or flirty message ready to go, but if you send it at the wrong time, it's game over. Bad timing isn't just a missed opportunity. It sends a subtle signal that you're out of sync with her life. And guess what? Women notice this. So, what qualifies as bad timing? Let's break it down. Messaging her in the middle of her workday, blowing up her phone at 2 a.m., or sending texts first thing in the morning when she's just waking up. These are the moments when she's least likely to respond, or worse, when she reads your message, rolls her eyes, and forgets to reply entirely. Why does timing matter so much? Because texting is about making a connection. When you interrupt her during her busiest moments or text at odd hours, it doesn't feel like a genuine conversation. It feels like an inconvenience. And while you might think texting her anytime shows you're interested, it often does the opposite. It shows you're not paying attention to her world. What's the solution? Get strategic about when you send messages. Pay attention to her schedule. Does she usually respond in the evenings? Then that's when you should text. Did she mention being busy with work or errands? Wait until you know she's free. Sending a message at the right time isn't just thoughtful. It shows emotional intelligence and a little effort to understand her rhythm. Pro tip: don't chase the immediate reply. Women appreciate a man who's patient and confident enough to let her respond when she's ready. The needy "why didn't you reply" text or following up too quickly is a surefire way to push her away. Also, avoid late-night texts unless your relationship is already solid. Nothing screams booty call or I'm bored and lonely more than a text after midnight. Unless that's the vibe you're going for, and let's be real, most women aren't into that, stick to reasonable hours. Bottom line, texting is like catching a wave. If you miss the right moment, you're left splashing around awkwardly. The key is to stay cool, stay patient, and send messages when they're most likely to make an impact. Because when your timing is right, everything flows naturally. 3. Boring and generic. The danger of hey and other lifeless openers. Let's be real, nothing kills interest faster than boring, lifeless texts. And the sad truth, most guys don't even realize they're guilty of it. If you've ever sent a hey or what's up, thinking it was enough to spark a connection, you're making one of the most common and avoidable mistakes. Think about it from her perspective. She gets a dozen of these bland texts every single day from guys who put in zero effort. Do you think she's excited to respond to a message that feels recycled, uninspired, and hollow? Of course not. Women want to feel like the conversation has a purpose. Generic openers don't just fail to grab attention, they actually suggest you're not paying attention. Here's why this matters. Women are drawn to men who stand out, men who spark curiosity and excitement from the first interaction. A boring opener tells her that either you don't know how to connect on a deeper level or worse, you simply don't care enough to try. And let's be honest, nothing about that feels appealing. The issue goes beyond just openers. Even during the conversation, relying on surface-level questions or throwing out plain, one-word replies can kill any momentum you might have had. It creates an energy where she feels like she's doing all the heavy lifting, which quickly leads to frustration. And you don't want to be the guy who's remembered as exhausting to talk to. Engaging texting isn't about saying something flashy or overthinking every word. It's about showing genuine interest and creating a vibe that feels different from the rest. Women can tell when you're invested in the conversation and when you're just going through the motions. And while it might feel intimidating to put in the extra effort, remember this: confidence isn't about writing a perfect message. It's about being willing to step out of the ordinary. She doesn't need poetry or a comedian. She just wants something that feels real. At the end of the day, a text is a doorway. If your opener doesn't excite her enough to step through it, that door stays closed. So take a breath, rethink your approach, and commit to being the guy whose texts make her want to respond, not roll her eyes. 4. Emoji. Overload. When being cute turns into being cringy. Let's cut to the chase. Overusing emojis is a mistake most men don't realize they're making. What might feel like a fun way to add personality to your messages can quickly come across as over-the-top, juvenile, or even plain awkward. A well-placed emoji can enhance a text, but throwing them around like confetti? That's a recipe for disaster. Here's the thing, guys. Women pay attention to the way you communicate, and emojis are a part of that. While an occasional wink or smile can add charm, spamming hearts, crying faces, or random food emojis screams one thing: immaturity. Women are looking for a man who knows how to express himself with words, not someone who relies on cartoon faces to carry a conversation. Ask yourself this: are you using emojis to complement what you're saying, or are they a crutch because you're unsure of how to keep things engaging? If it's the latter, it's time to wake up. Texting isn't a playground, it's a space to showcase your confidence, personality, and maturity. Overdoing it with emojis sends the wrong message. It says you're either trying too hard to be funny or that you don't take things seriously enough. Here's a little constructive criticism. Men, you need to step up your texting game. Emojis aren't the problem, it's the way they're being misused. Think about it. When you rely too heavily on them, you're essentially telling her you're not confident enough in your words to let them stand on their own. That lack of self-assurance is a turnoff. The solution is simple. Cut back and be intentional. Use emojis sparingly and only when they add value to what you're saying. A smile at the end of a lighthearted comment? Perfect. 100 fire emojis in response to her photo? Cringe. Strive to make your words carry the weight of the conversation, with emojis as a sprinkle of flavor, not the main ingredient. Women are drawn to men who communicate with confidence and clarity, and overloading your texts with emojis does neither. So keep it simple, stay intentional, and remember, your ability to connect lies in your words, not in how many animated faces you can cram into a single text. 5. Texting for validation. How needy messages push her away. Here's a hard truth, guys. Women can smell neediness from a mile away, and it's one of the fastest ways to sabotage any interest she might have had in you. When you send messages purely to seek validation, whether it's to hear she likes you, get reassurance that she's still interested, or just feel better about yourself, you unintentionally communicate insecurity. And let's be clear, insecurity is not attractive. It might not even be intentional. Maybe you're texting to check in because her replies seem slower, or maybe you're fishing for compliments with subtle cues like, "So, what do you think about me?" On the surface, it feels harmless, but to her, it sends a clear message. You're unsure of your worth and relying on her attention to feel good about yourself. That's not the energy she wants from a man. Here's why this matters so much. Women are naturally drawn to men who are secure and confident in who they are. When you come across as overly eager to please or desperate for her approval, it puts pressure on her and creates a one-sided dynamic. She starts feeling like she's responsible for propping up your ego, and nobody signs up for a relationship where they have to do all the emotional heavy lifting. Let's talk about why this happens. Often it's not about her at all, it's about you. If you're seeking constant validation through texts, it's a sign that you might need to work on how you view yourself. Confidence doesn't come from external validation. It comes from knowing your worth and not needing anyone else to confirm it. Here's the wake-up call. Stop texting to get something and start texting to give something. Instead of seeking reassurance, focus on bringing value to the conversation. Share something funny, ask about her interests, or add to her day in a positive way. When your messages feel intentional and self-assured, she'll naturally feel drawn to you. At the end of the day, texting is about building a connection, not filling a void in your own self-esteem. So take a step back, reassess why you're texting, and remind yourself that your value doesn't hinge on her responses. Confidence is silent. Neediness is loud. Choose to be confident and watch how differently she responds. Here's the reality, guys. Most women won't tell you what you're doing wrong. They'll simply leave. The harsh truth is, if you're making these texting mistakes, you're your own worst enemy. The good news? You now know exactly what to fix. But here's the controversial part. If you think your texting game doesn't matter, you've already lost. Communication is your lifeline, and women judge your texts as much as your actions. I want to hear from you. What's your most awkward or frustrating texting experience? Drop it in the comments below and I'll personally reach out. Let's level up together.